In a land of sunshine where the palm trees sway, there's a special show to brighten up your day. From rockin' festivals to Broadway dreams, tune in with Bonnie G. It's a desert scene, the desert scene with Bonnie G. Meet the stars and feel the beat. From the Coachella Valley is the place to be, for all the culture, fun, and harmony. The desert scene, yeah, with Bonnie G.
Mutual Broadcasting welcomes you to the Desert Scene, featuring conversations with the people who make culture, art, and entertainment happen in the Coachella Valley. From local theater to live music, art exhibits to cinema and beyond. The Desert Scene is presented by El Portal Mexican Restaurant in Cathedral City. Now, here is your host, Bonnie G.
And welcome to the Desert Scene. So happy to have you here, and very happy to welcome to the show Alberto Acosta. He is very involved in this reading coming up called Unwanted Laughter. It's being presented by the LGBTQ Plus World History Museum, Museum of Ancient Wonders, Temple Isaiah, and Alberto is he is the head of the Museum of Ancient Wonders and is spearheading the creation of the LGBTQ World History Museum. I got that all in. Hi, Alberto. How are you?
Marvelous, Bonnie. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Absolutely. So tell us about this, the Unwanted Laughter. This sounds like a fascinating premise.
It is. It's a legendary event that took place in 1956 at the Coconut Grove Theater in Miami, Florida. Now, the play, A Streetcar Named Desire, which was written by Tennessee Williams, premiered on Broadway in 1947, starring Jessica Tandy. And nearly 10 years later, Tennessee Williams invited his wonderful friend, Tallulah Bankhead, to perform the role of Blanche Dubois. 10 years after the opening on Broadway. He had written the play with Tallulah in mind, but it took 10 years for them to finally get her in a production of it, and so she premiered it as Blanche Dubois in 1956, and it was the biggest theatrical event of the year. Everyone had been dying to see her play that role, but there was a problem. They had rehearsed the play, and for the first week of opening to the public, unfortunately, her personality, her delivery, and just being Tallulah herself was making the audience laugh at some of Blanche Dubois' most sensitive lines in the play. And so after about a week of that, the producers called Tennessee in and said, now listen, Tallulah's a wonderful actress, but she's got to play Blanche Dubois and not Tallulah Bankhead.
Right, yeah.
Because everyone in the audience was just full of hilarity because of the way she was delivering the lines. So Tennessee flies into Miami, and the play takes place on the day that he arrives. It's Tallulah, Tennessee, and Tallulah's intrepid stand-in. In case something happened to Tallulah, they have an actress to stand in for. So it's a three-character play, takes place on the day when Tennessee comes into Miami to help her find her character so that the play can go on. And this was before any of the reviews came out, so they were really lucky to be able to redefine her characterization before any of the critics arrived. And, of course, it was an astounding success. The play is written by an award-winning, internationally acclaimed playwright. His name is Marty Martin, and he's most famous for his play Gertrude Stein, starring the recently deceased Pat Carroll.
Yeah.
In the 1980s, it was the longest-running off-Broadway play in the history of New York theater. And, of course, after 385 performances at the Provincetown Playhouse in Greenwich Village, Pat Carroll took it on an international tour. So Marty is a prolific playwright. He writes monologues. multi-character plays, and he has a penchant for writing biographical plays about famous people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an extraordinary experience. It's full of wit, and it's so witty that the audience is constantly in a laughing state. But at the same time, it's heartbreaking because you see the relationship between Tallulah and Tennessee, and they discuss very intimate subjects that they shared together. So it's an extraordinary play and based on a real event.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So this was all based on factual stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Their relationship, the situation with playing Blanche Dubois on stage for the first time for an actress that Tennessee truly was inspired by Tallulah Bankhead to write it.
Mm-hmm.
So it all comes together in 1956, practically 10 years after the play was produced on Broadway.
Did that production have a decent run, the one with Tallulah?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It ran for several months in Miami and became one of the most legendary theatrical events of the Coconut Grove Theater's history. And what's so amazing right now is that the Coconut Grove Theater in Florida has been in a contentious fight over developers who want to just simply tear down the theater to turn it into a shopping mall. So the people who run the Coconut Grove Theater have been trying for over a decade to save the theater. And what we're hoping is that this staged reading here in Palm Springs is going to be recorded, and we're going to send the recording to the officials of the Coconut Grove Theater to see if we can get a production of it scheduled as a fundraiser for the Coconut Grove Theater. It's a legendary theater. It's a beautiful architecture. It needs to be saved, and because of the political mire that it's in, we're hoping that the citizens of Miami will do everything they can to save one of the most important theaters in our country.
You would think that maybe it could be designated as a historical building and not, so therefore be immune from being torn down. I don't know what that process is.
That should be the way the situation is, but we all know what politics are like in Florida right now. So over the last 10 years, people have ignored it. And so I have a feeling that the play will work at some point to help raise the consciousness of Floridians, especially people in Miami, to do everything that they can to save that iconic theater.
I hope so. All right, we're going to come back and talk about the cast in a minute, but we're going to take a quick break here on the Desert Scene, talking to Alberto Acosta. We'll be right back.
Craving a delicious meal that won't break the bank? Look no further than El Portal Mexican Restaurant in Cathedral City. At El Portal, we pride ourselves on offering family-friendly dining with affordable prices on our authentic Mexican cuisine. Owner Victor Lupercio and his dedicated staff make you feel like part of the family. Whether you choose to dine in, take out, or opt for delivery, you can always count on fresh, mouth-watering dishes that will transport you to the heart of Mexico. Enjoy discounts throughout the week and explore one of the Valley's best selections of tequila to complement your meal. Join us for live entertainment on Friday evenings and consider El Portal for your next special occasion with our catering services. Visit eatatelportal.com for more details and discover why El Portal Mexican Restaurant has become a culinary gem in the desert. El Portal, located 1 block south of Ramon on De Palm and Via Olivera.
And we're back on the Desert Scene with Alberto Acosta. So let's talk about the cast here of Unwanted Laughter. By the way, it is November. Now, is this a reading, a staged reading, or a full production?
It's a staged reading for one night only, and it takes place at Temple Isaiah, which is the synagogue in downtown Palm Springs. It's November 9th. The play begins at 7 p.m., and it's a 2-act play, so it'll probably last about an hour and 30 minutes. It's a 3-character play in 2 acts, so there'll be an intermission. And the cast is absolutely astounding.
Yeah, I know all 3 of them. They're wonderful, all of them, yes.
They really are. You know, I'm rather new to the Valley. I moved here in 2019, to found the Museum of Ancient Wonders and the LGBTQ World History Museum, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But from 2019 to about 2024, I went to all the theatrical productions. I know Marty's plays very well. I've known him for a long time, and he's written over 40 multi-character and monologue plays. So when I arrived in Palm Springs and realized that it was such a wonderful theater capital.
It really is, yeah.
It really is. It's so amazing to see so much theater, so much inspirational theater going on here, that I went to all the productions, and looking at the actors and hearing their voices and their skill and technique, I chose Jason Marino, Yo Younger, and Felicia Mason to play these roles. I handpicked them, and this is before we had a director. Of course, that role usually goes to the director. The director chooses the actors. But I took a step forward and chose these three actors, and gratefully, Randy Brenner, who's going to be staging the reading for us.
He's terrific. Yes, I know him as well, yeah.
So when he realized that it had already been cast, I think he had the feeling that it was cast well, and that he didn't need to change any of the actors that I had cast for it. So because I know Marty's plays, I know his rhythms and his intentions in the plays, I chose those three actors out of the entire pool because I felt they were quite capable of handling this new play. So Yo Younger will be playing the role of Tallulah, and I cannot tell you how incredible she is as Tallulah Bankhead.
I've known Yo for years. I've seen her, and I've worked with her on stage. I've seen her. She's one of the best actresses in this valley, and perfect for Tallulah, absolutely.
She is absolutely perfect for her. She's got the voice, the intent, the drama. She knows how to deliver Tallulah Bankhead as though Tallulah lived inside of her. And of course, Jason is extremely talented and skilled, and he is basking in the role of Tennessee Williams. So between those two actors, Tennessee and Tallulah will be coming back to life on November 9th at the Temple Isaiah. It's very exciting to have them in these roles because they're so devoted to those characters.
And let's tell people where they can get tickets. Is there a website or phone number for tickets?
Yes, they can get tickets by going to www.LGBTQ World History Museum.org. Okay. That's all one word, LGBTQ World History Museum.org. Go to the events tab, press on events. You'll see a press release and a button so that you can buy your tickets. And because it's only one performance, I recommend and encourage everyone to attend it. This is the one and only time you'll be able to see and hear this play in this region. Of course, we hope it develops into a full production at some point.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that a possibility for full production here in Palm Springs?
Absolutely. And we've got the director, we've got the cast. All we need is a production company to come and see the reading, hear their performance, and put it on their schedule.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
Keeping it. And if it's really done beautifully, I say we ship it off to the Coconut Grove Theater in Miami and premiere it there for them.
Absolutely. Well, let's recap this. Unwanted Laughter by award-winning, internationally acclaimed playwright Mary Martin. It takes place November 9th, 7 p.m., Temple Isaiah, presented by the LGBTQ plus World History Museum, Museum of Ancient Wonders. Alberto Acosta, what a wonderful project. Thank you so much for being here, and welcome to the Valley. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much. And also you can visit the Museum of Ancient Wonders by going to moaw.org.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Alberto, and we'll see you, everyone else, the next time on The Desert Scene.
Coachella Valley is the place to be for all the culture, fun, and harmony. The Desert Scene, with Bonnie G. The Desert Scene's where you belong with Mutual Broadcasting's Bonnie G. Just sing along. Just sing along.